Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Town of Portland Board of Education podcast. And with me in the studio is our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Charles Britton. Hi, Charles. How are you?
Dave, I love the new digs here.
You like the digs? We're on camera, so which is a little bit of an improvement over the one at the high school. So anyway, so how you been?
Good. Everything's good. It's beautiful out. I love the first visit for your music store here, and then you're settling into retirement, and you're happy and healthy. You look great.
Well, as I told Ryan, I have trouble realizing what day it is, and so forth. But
must be. I'm sure you will fill the time.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
So I appreciate you continuing to do these too. I've gotten to enjoy them. I think it creates a nice historical record, and but for us, the ability to get the information out to people on video, podcasts, and in writing and emails, pick your media.
It tells a story, and it's an oral history.
Absolutely.
And we go from there.
That's just it.
So anyway, how's the school year going for you?
Things are good. Things are really good. Students are doing well. The teaching and learning that I see every day is strong. All the arrows are pointing up. We're in the midst of budget season. We're working through some fiscal challenges that I'd be happy to talk about a little bit.
Okay.
Both in terms of managing this year's resources and what we're going to be asking from the community for next year.
Yep.
And then, of course, wrapped into that is our big infrastructure modernization plan that's underway. So we have really, really good things happening now and planned for the future. It's a great time of year.
Great. Well, I think the survey was a pretty good success as far as getting feedback from the townspeople on the direction and so forth. So I guess you had your Board of Education meeting last night, correct?
I did. Yep. And the board discussed the survey. I think and we covered this in the previous podcast that the preferred option now is to consolidate to one school.
Okay.
Right? To create one pre-K to 5 Valley View, move the 6th grade to the middle school, and then decommission Gildersleeve and Brownstone.
Yeah.
That would enable us to create one really fantastic building and move all of our schools onto one campus.
Sure.
We have an architecture firm who's been working with us for 2 years.
Yeah.
They're in the process now of taking a look at what our education specifications would be in terms of how many classrooms we'd need, cafeteria space, gym space, library media, support services space, traffic patterns, parking, all of those things.
Nice.
They were at Valley View the other day, and they ran a drone up over the school to take a look at the footprint.
Yeah.
And I would say within the next 4 to 6 weeks, they'll provide us a cost estimate for both the town of Portland and reimbursement percentages from the state, which is huge, and some blocking diagrams, a picture of what this facility might look like, both in terms of how it would be laid out and some renderings.
Nice.
So it's an exciting time.
Yeah, well, picture's worth 1,000 words.
That's it. That's just it, Dave. Absolutely, right? And so there are, at this point, I think, a couple of pieces of information that I know the community is still waiting on. That, right? The cost estimates and the renderings. And then, of course, another committee is taking a look at and deliberating about what would happen to Brownstone and Gildersleeve if they were decommissioned as schools. All of that will be shared, discussed by both the Board of Education, Board of Selectmen, my leadership team. Obviously, Ryan Curley has a very important role in all of this.
Yep.
Communicated out to the public, and I think could pave a path forward. I will say that the clock is ticking.
Yeah.
Our facilities continue to show their age, and it's really important that we take advantage of this opportunity because it's desperately needed.
Sure.
And again, I've said this before. If anybody feels like maybe I'm being a little overly dramatic or Chicken Little-ish, please call me and let's meet. Let me give you a tour of any of our elementary schools.
Sure.
Let me let you take a look at their condition, and I would just say that, Dave, we're here in your music studio. What would this music studio look like 30 years from now if you did nothing to it?
Well, this is the thing. It takes money to ride the train,
Right.
as far as that goes. And, and aging infrastructure, I think, is a commonality with, not only school systems, but town. And Ryan and I spoke about that earlier as far as that goes. And it's, it's an issue that, unfortunately, it costs money,
That's
and
right.
you have to stay up, with all the new regulations as far as, HVAC requirements and, safety requirements and so forth. Regulations change and you have to update to accommodate those regulations, and it costs money.
Everything does, right? I mean, but again, these are our commitments. It's generational, that we pool our resources to provide for the conditions for the next generation to meet with success the same way we did.
Yeah.
All of us have a lot owed to. Think about it. Can you read?
Yeah.
Can you compute? Can
Yeah.
you think critically? What we weren't born with these skills.
No.
We learned these because previous generations provided the resources and the teachers and the expertise to help
Sure.
develop us. And what would happen if that chain were broken?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And to be, obviously, technologies have changed between, the time you and I went to school and, and what exists in the classroom and the resources that are available now. And, obviously, you want to give the students the best learning environment, and those require tools.
Of course. And it's important in that context. I want to just talk a little bit about another responsibility that we have.
Yeah.
Right. Public education is a wonderful thing. It really is the ultimate commitment, the ultimate sign that we are our brother's keeper, right? That we make a commitment to pool our resources,
Sure.
to care for our neighbors,
Yep.
to provide our neighbors what they need, right?
Yep.
And one very important, special, precious demographic
Yep.
within our schools are our students who are disabled,
Yep.
who are in need, who have needs that are different than other students who, are born with all the faculties and blessings that we wish everybody had, right?
Right.
That, and oftentimes we refer to those students as a group as special needs or special education group of students.
Yeah.
The most rewarding part of my job is working with special needs and special education students, bar none.
Yeah.
Right. That it is absolutely magical to
Sure.
to see the work of our professionals and special needs students. One of the commitments we make is that our special needs students get what they need. It's both a legal responsibility and a moral, ethical commitment. Imagine a world if we didn't do that. If we said to disabled or handicapped children and their families, well, we know you might need that, but you're on your own.
Right.
We don't feel a sense of shared responsibility for caring for you.
Right.
I wouldn't want to live in that world.
No.
Right. That would be the kind of place that, maybe some people feel like we aren't our brother's keeper. For those of you who don't feel that way, I feel bad for you. I don't know why you have that perception of,
Right.
of people. I don't share that opinion. And unfortunately, or I should say fortunately for me, the law is on my side. We have a legal, in addition
Obligation.
to moral obligation,
Sure.
to provide those services. The reality, though, is that some of those services are quite expensive.
Exactly.
And what happens is, in school districts, we often plan our programming and budgets around the students we know that have those needs, but the numbers and the types of needs change
Sure.
pretty regularly.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes they work to your advantage in a budgetary sense,
Yeah.
and sometimes they work against you in terms
Right.
of the number and intensity of the needs.
Sure.
Across this state and country, and absolutely here in Portland too, the needs are real and growing.
Yes.
And we are doing an amazing job providing those services as best we can in-house.
Yep.
But sometimes we reach a point where the clinical, psychological, physical, and other types of needs aren't able to be met in-house, in which case there are specialized programs in the state where we send students to. We outplace students.
Sure.
Those outplacements can get quite pricey,
Yeah.
but they're needed by those students and those families, and something we have to provide and otherwise are morally and financially obligated to provide.
Sure.
Because of that, unfortunately, from a fiscal perspective, the Board of Ed's budget is in a deficit, and we need money both this year and next year to provide those services.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you have you don't have a crystal ball, okay, when you're planning your budget, okay, to accommodate students that may move into the district that need those services and so forth. 100%. So, you're kind of it's kind of a wild card.
It is a wild card, and like anybody, like you run this small business here,
Yep.
right, Dave? Sometimes you have a good month, sometimes you have a not so good month.
Yep.
You do your best within this business to rob Peter to pay Paul.
Yep, exactly.
Some months you have to provide extra lessons, and some months because you're not selling as many guitars, right?
Yeah.
That's anybody who runs a small business or even manages a household budget understands that.
Yeah.
From a school perspective, though, when we do our best to rob Peter to pay Paul,
Yep.
and everything we can, but sometimes even then it's not enough,
Right.
And what happens then for school districts is that when we reach a point where our needs outstrip our resources, we do have to turn to our Board of Selectmen and our first selectman, explain what's happened and ask for additional resources because, we're not a business.
Exactly.
We work very closely with our Board of Selectmen and our Board of Education to make sure everybody understands and both what we're doing to manage them.
Yep.
But that's where we are now.
Right.
I've asked for those, and I'm hoping that we're smart and make good decisions over the coming months, and that the town Board of Selectmen and First Selectmen will help keep us whole when we reach the end of the year and we're not.
Yeah.
But I certainly don't want to even consider what would happen if I had to make draconian cuts to programs and athletics and co-curricular and extracurricular activities in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
Right. That would be so devastating and hurtful to our families and our children that I can't go there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I'll be completely honest. We're in a little bit of a pickle, but it's not something that I think needs to keep us up at night. I think it's just something we have to be very thoughtful about, both in terms of our needs to support all children now and in the coming year.
Sure. Yeah. Well, again, that's one of those necessities that unfortunately is the reality of academia in this year. I mean, we all know, from a standpoint of mental health.
Oh, yeah.
Mental health is a big issue these days, and that affects students in a variety of ways. And ultimately, you have to, address those issues and, to do it the best way you can. And it's a wild card because you don't know, basically, a lot of times coming into the school year, what kind of your needs you're going to have to, or what kind of resources that you're going to have to provide.
Exactly. And, I have a certain view on these things. In the town I live in the town of Wallingford.
Yeah.
And I pay property taxes every year.
Yep.
I would say to the town of Wallingford, tax me more, because I understand and I have a moral commitment to my brother, to my neighbors. Mm-hmm. And that I know even on my street, there are children who need extra support.
Yep.
I personally am not providing that because I'm busy and I have my job and my family and my life, but I am very happy to know that the Wallingford Board of Education and town is providing that.
Yep.
And that in some small way my property tax contributes to that. I feel really good about it.
Yeah.
Because if again, imagine a world where that wasn't happening.
Exactly.
Where would that family be?
Exactly.
What would happen with what difficulties would that family and that young person place if we didn't have that shared commitment to them.
For sure.
It would not be the type of first world country that I think any of us would expect to live in.
Exactly. Anyway, but so other than that, what else is happening in the district? I think
all good things, David.
We have the
Matilda in March.
Yes, we've
get your
got
tickets.
The musical. They're coming up.
Coming right up. We have spring. We're heading into the time of year that gets really exciting. Spring sports. Pretty soon, catchers and pitchers are going to be down in Florida, and hopefully my New York Mets are going to do well this year. And the
Metropolitans.
Sure, the tulips are going to be coming up, and then once that happens, our softball, baseball, track teams. Oh, the track season! I can't wait for a new track season this year, and and then we have the proms and of course the big one, graduation.
We have our choral extravaganza coming up in March.
That's
going to be
band and choral extravaganzas. It's amazing what happens over the coming 5 months. It's what you really live for as an educator, and I hope everybody comes out, even if you don't have kids in the school.
Yeah,
get your tickets to Matilda, go have a nice dinner, come watch the show, enjoy it. The kids are amazing. Come on out, catch a baseball game.
Yes.
Come to graduation. Be a part of your community.
Yes.
It's a wonderful place.
Well, I'll have you know that I make perfect use of the track. I walk every morning up there and do my mile and a half. Okay, depending on the how I feel every day. So, but it's great. The track is awesome. They did such a great job with it, and it's certainly going to be nice to again hold home track meets and have the track have the resources that they need.
Have you seen the new gym yet? Did you get into lift some weights in the new gym?
I have not.
Oh, it's terrific.
I was I had to go in the radio room last month, and they were just delivering a lot of the equipment, and they were putting that in. Yeah. So I'm going to have to go in and see if we can
check it out.
Pump some iron.
That's
here.
it. It's awesome. I know our wrestling and basketball teams in there now regularly. I'm sure our track team with preseason starts, we'll get in there and get in shape. But it's Gildersleeve Trust is fabulous. Again, I can't thank Ryan and the Board of Selectmen and all of the people who made the track work. We're in a really good place. It shows me. I'm very optimistic and hopeful of what happens when a community comes together to support their young people. It's a great place.
Yeah, that's great. And now that the survey is over, and I think the response on that, I think Ryan said we had over 1,000 people.
Over 1,000 people,
and so forth. So it's just the decommissioning the two schools, and I asked Ryan, he was a little bit unsure of what is going to be the ultimate decision on the Brownstone School, whether the town is going to remain ownership of that, or what the upcoming use of that is going to be.
Sure, they're great assets. The location's wonderful. It definitely needs some work, but there are sky's the limit.
Sure.
These are the kinds of things that town planners and financial analysts and people with hopefully visionary people get together, and look out. Where are we now? Where could we be? Right? And what purpose could these facilities serve our town and our residents, either in terms of turning it over and making it private and bringing it onto your tax rolls, right? Or in terms of a community use.
Sure. You got a great auditorium there.
Great auditorium.
It's just so nice. It's classic. So, fantastic. So, anyway, have you been? What have you been doing for your hobbies? You've been out hiking?
I've been out skiing a little bit. Not such a great ski season, but just want to try to get a few more runs in, and then of course golf season will be here soon enough. That always takes a little of the stress away for a couple hours to get out and do that. But,
there you go.
For me, it's like I'm sort of like most other Portland parents of a high school and middle school kid. I'm so wrapped up in my kids' sports and athletics and what's going on in their classrooms and in their life, and watching them grow up is brings me great joy.
Yeah.
So my life is all about two things: my kids and Portland. That's about kind of like it. Otherwise, in between there, I find a few moments of for myself, but they're few and far between. But I wouldn't have it any other way.
There you go. Well, I just got back from my music trade show, which is out in California, and I've been going out there for over 30 years, and this is the first year that I've been out there that it actually rained out there.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's like a fire hose out in Anaheim. It was like, flooded streets, mudslides, and conversely, you move a little bit towards the Vegas side and Tahoe and so forth, and they're getting record amounts of snowfall out there.
Sure.
It's just like, wow. Unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. We're living through some strange times, Dave.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And I think we got more to come, but we'll do what we can as far as that goes. So, all right. Fantastic. Anything else that we need?
No, thanks. You look at, I think our next one should definitely be once we get some feedback from our architects and we can talk in more specifics about what one move from our current configuration to a pre-K5 Valley View might look like, how long it would take, how much it would cost, what all of the benefits and downsides of it might be.
Absolutely. Well, I spoke with Ryan, and he's now that we're doing the podcast here, what I'd like to do is if we can do it, do a couple of months or so, that would be great.
Awesome.
As far as that goes, and that way we can get people looking forward to the consistency of the updates and go from there, even if it's just to get together and talk.
Let's do it. That sounds great.
Fantastic.
Thanks for doing this, Dave.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Charles Britton is in the house, and that concludes this episode of the Town of Portland Board of Education podcast. I'm your host, Dave Kosminski, and we're in our new home here at the Connecticut Valley School of Music podcast studio. So, Charles, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.